possibilities. I'm living in the possibilities. I'm living in the possibilities. I'm living in the possibilities.
Woo! Wow. Wow, I was like way out there. I don't know about you all, but I was, after Delon, your opening prayer, and then living in the possibilities, and there was a paddle boarder and a kayaker, and I was kayaking, and then all of a sudden I realized, oh, I'm up next. I better get back in this building, right? Wow. It's such a great day to be alive. I love that perspective, right? Considering the alternative. It's good to be here today, and so this is our life, This is our one precious life. What are we going to do with it? What are we going to be? How are we going to be? Who are we going to be? What are we going to do and experience in this one precious, amazing life? We're going to sing, and we're going to dance, and we're going to love and laugh and have a grand time. Yes? Right. I love you guys. All right. So it's August. I really honestly felt like July was a very long month. Yes. Very long. It was 5 Sundays, and it was like, wow, we're still in July, but finally, friends, we have come into August. So happy August. It's August 6th today. And as I mentioned, the seed of awakening for this month is passion and purpose. And today's talk title is Awakening to Your Passion. And as I was formulating and sitting with this idea and the seed of awakening for the month and considering the talk title, Awakening to Your Passion, it occurred to me that we awaken to our passion, and we also have this experience of changes, right? So our passion can change over time, when we're younger, we have still to uncover and discover what we are passionate about, and then we discover it, and then we sort of go with it, right? And then maybe there's a change in life, we move, and we need to get back in touch with our passion or reignite the passion that we're usually present to, so things are changing, and then there's retirement, and then it changes again, but that passion that is within us is that sort of energy that is like that feeling of I am fired up, like the thing that makes us want to jump out of bed in the morning. And even if it's something that if we're not going to even do it today, it's still the thing that we know is there, right? Waiting for us. Could be surfing, could be playing music or singing. I was talking to Jim this morning, and he shared something so beautiful with me, and that was that he woke up this morning and put his feet on the ground and said, I am excited, or something to this effect. I want to sing today. And he was ready, and he was up there singing, and just imagining him with his feet hitting the floor and having that excitement and joy, that's passion, yeah? That's passion. And so also, as I was formulating this talk, I knew my friend Dave Dumont was going to be here. And Dave Dumont, everybody, this is Dave Dumont and his wife, Tanya. Now, Travis and I first met Dave at the Center for Spiritual Living San Jose, which is where I became a licensed practitioner, and I really discovered the God of my understanding there, right? And Dave Dumont was the pianist, and he was like the accompaniment to our spiritual awakening, And so it's such a great joy to have you here. And we were actually in a foundations class together, maybe 2. Might have been that first one that we all took together, because I remember your project was a tomato plant. And so this is funny, right? This is how my mind works. I'm thinking about Dave Dumont and his passion for music, and how the fact that I remember the whole tomato thing, and it's like that's his passion, and he's sharing that's his passion, and the project was about the creative process. Anyway, details, right? So that's passion, and maybe that's changed, and maybe there's more, but it's us living into and being that passion that we are, that is within us. What are you passionate about? Let's hear it. Just life, okay? God, spirit, art, the beach, music, animals. What else? Rock and roll, baby.
I heard fly fishing from the back row.
Fly fishing, yeah. Right? So that's something that just lights you up, you know? It lights us up, and it gives us that joy of life. And so if you're somebody right now who doesn't quite know what your passion is, then lean in. And for those of you that already know your passion, still, you're going to lean into and listen to this, because this is going to help us really get more into focusing on that for ourselves, because we deserve it, and we deserve to live a life that we love and to be joyful and happy. So we all have within us this beautiful quality of joy and energy that makes us unique in the world. We were born with it, and as we rediscover our childlike enthusiasm for life, we reveal our God-given passion. So this one life is exactly ours to do, and to do so less than wholeheartedly deprives the world of our best offerings, right? Now, I've heard people say before that they wanted to do a particular thing, but they were really called to it, but they felt like they shouldn't do it, or they ought not do it because this other person does it so much better, or they do it so well. But the reality is that nothing can be done the way that it would be done through you. You are each unique, individualized expressions of the divine. It's this energy that's moving through you, and it's moving through you in a particular way that it can only do and be through you. And so we're called to get our bloated nothingness out of the way and allow these divine circuits to shine through us, right? And let Spirit be the master puppeteer of our lives, as it were. So interestingly, some people are not aware of their passion, and they will even dismiss that concept, believing that they don't have even one passion. So it occurs to me that maybe the word passion is obscure and elusive, but one way for us to awaken to our passion or rediscover our passion is to substitute that word with joy. And so what brings you joy, right? Like Marie Kondo, what sparks joy in your life? What makes you come alive? Because what the world needs are people who have come alive, yes? So what makes you come alive? What brought you joy as a child? Toys. Any particular kind of toys?
I like robot toys.
Robot toys. Did they have those when you were a kid? Oh! Imitation robots. Cute.
They look like them, but
We used to have, I was a simple child, I think. Well, there were Barbies brought me joy. Yes, I was that girl. And I made my own clothes for Barbie, and the yarn. And we would take the yarn and do this thing with it on our hands, and we would play that game with friends. What? Was that what it's called? And it would just go back and forth, and you could do 10 million different things. That was so fun. And then there was this jump rope thing that you put on the side, and you would go, and, yeah. Good times, man. And then jump rope and singing, that brought me so much joy. What else? What brought you joy? Dogs, swimming. Hula hoop, yeah. I want to hear from the guys. What brought you joy? Mini bikes? Steve, what was that? Summer vacation brought you joy. Yeah. 10 speeds, hey. Legos, yeah. Any builders? Wow, just thinking about these things and sharing these really is sparking joy for me right now. Can you guys feel that energy in the room? That joyful energy? So good. It's just so good. So We are getting back in touch with what brings us joy, what we're passionate about, and giving ourselves permission to experience it, okay? It's like we maybe get so busy with other things in our lives that we forget to do what we love, and up until now, right? So interestingly, have you guys heard the word adulting? I know, right? I've heard that word too, and that I think that was in the generation after me because we never used that word, but it became well known, and it's like adulting is this thing. It's a word that is about being responsible and doing adult things, right? It's a catchword for taking care of business. So I think that. For some time, maybe this idea of adulting overshadowed the idea of having a childlike wonder for life. So we're letting go of that word adulting, and we're going to engage in experiencing the childlike wonder of life, because that's how we stay young at heart. And that's how we really can be present to the magnificence and the awe of life, by being in that state of being childlike and in that state of wonder and imagining, like Delon was sharing, looking in the water and there's all this going on in the water and looking at it with that wonder and thinking about jumping in, yeah? And then jumping in, And so how beautiful is that? So sometimes we hide away our attempts to not be silly or not be ridiculous, and we think that we have to be a certain particular way and very serious about things, but I beg to differ, and it was Einstein who reminded us that imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is actually limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution. And so let go and get into your imagination and let that imagination run wild with joy and passion, right? Because we can also let our imagination run wild with negativity. Have you noticed? You stub your toe or your partner says something the wrong way, and then it's just like right off the cliff, right? And you go into this whole other world, when what we can do with that creative energy is create what we would love. And so we can start thinking about what we love and what we would love to experience and let go of what does not look like that, Are you with me? All right. So we allow ourselves downtime, Allow yourself to have that downtime and to experience the downtime that you so deserve. Now, you may have heard this: do what you love and you'll never work another day in your life. Welcome, come on in. Or have you heard this one? Do what you love and the money will follow. Now, why do you think that saying is so important? Do what you love and the money will follow. I believe it's because when we are fully engaged in something, it becomes less like work, right? You'll never do what you love and you'll never work another day in your life. And do what you love and the money will follow. So doing what we love allows us to be fully into it, like we're so into it that time passes by and we don't even know, like we started at 9 a.m. and the next thing we know it's 1 p.m. Do you have things like that in your life? And then you're like, oh wow, what happened to the time? But you were so engaged and so into it that you really just had no idea that time was going by. That's spirit, that's holy, that is so sacred when we're in that space, right? Now, I've also heard that there are 3 types of jobs, or 3 types of work. There's a job, a career, and a calling. Now, I think I have all 3. I've got a job, a career, and a calling. I've got 2 careers, really, right? And I think at some point it's all going to merge together, but I do have a day job, and ministry is, and I quote, weekends and evenings, not really. It's really a full-time job, right? Because ministers can't be part-time. You can say you're part-time, but you're all in, It's just because it's a calling, right? There's a calling, and there is a place within me that is speaking to me and calling me to be every day more than I thought I could be, more of who I am, more of who I really am. And at the same time, then I've got this day job, which is what they will pay me to do. I also get paid to work as a minister, don't get me wrong. But I do have the two. So I want to share a little bit about my passion for computers and how that came to be, because it's just such a contrast, isn't it? From my day job and what I'm doing here and what I'm doing in my ministry. And so I remember in the 80s, we had an IBM PC Junior with an MS-DOS operating system. And we first played with this at one of my parents' friends' homes. And I thought it was so cool. My dad thought it was really cool. And he saw that I was very interested in it. And so he ended up either buying it off of that person, because these computers were expensive back then, right? In the 80s, they were just coming out. And so we got this IBM PC Junior, and the operating system was MS-DOS. And it came with a little book, a handbook. And I was going through the handbook, and in the handbook, it had all this programming stuff. Like, I could actually, in MS-DOS, I could type in some code, and it would change colors, like the screen would change a color. So I would type in the code, the screen would change a color, and I would think, wow, that is really neat. Little did I know what that was going to be in the future for me, but it was really cool. And then I learned, I can make it make a sound. And so I fiddled with this thing all the time. All of my free time I spent with this computer, and I was making it make sounds. And then I learned that I could make it do Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and it was a little by slow though, right? A little bit at a time. And then pretty soon it could play the whole song and change colors through the whole song. So it took I was coding is what I was doing. And it reminded me, looking back, that's like HTML coding, where you put the code in, and then on the website, suddenly, like magic, there it is. Amazing. Anyway, I was so amazed by this and the fact that it could do that I could tell this computer ABC, and then it would show ABC. I was like, wow, that's cool. I thought this was so neat. And I continued with it, and then, I don't know, it's just like, I grew up, and I think I was like 13 around that time, or 14 maybe. So then I got my first job, and my first job was as an activity assistant at a convalescent hospital. Now, I know, isn't that interesting? And so I was the assistant to the activity director in a convalescent home, and so my job was to help serve the coffee to the folks in the home, and then we would do our activities. There'd be singing, I'm alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic, and singing that song and leading that song, and then just doing all these different activities. And it was really fun, but what always happened for me in this job was I would be called into the administration office to help them with their computers. And I'd be called into the director of nurses' office to help with her computer, or the staff development director and help with their computer. So then I got promoted into another position, and then I got promoted again to another position, all with like computer-related stuff. Now, if you had asked me when I was in that room with that computer doing the coding, I wouldn't have known that that's what that was leading to, right? And so how powerful it is that was so interesting to me at that time, and that actually led and fed into what my future would be like. Isn't that interesting? It's so interesting. So our kids and our grandkids and whatever their interests are, we want to continue to feed those, right? And to allow them to get into it, even if we don't understand it. because I think sometimes we don't understand it, and so we're like, it doesn't mean anything, but whatever, you know? Allow that to be. And so that was so amazing for me to get these promotions and continue that. Now today, I'm the IT service manager for a large affordable housing company on the Central Coast of California here, and that is People's Self-Help Housing. And I have 3 techs and 3 staff who work for me, and it's fun, and it's like, it's easy. It's just easy. It's something that I know, and I feel like it's something I get paid for, and it comes so easy for me, you know, and that's beautiful. And then I remember I reached a point in my life, fast forward, right? So that was the computer, and then the convalescent home, and then we're skipping a whole section. And I went to college and all this stuff. We're going to just fast forward here. And so fast forward into, I've shared about my drinking days, and so all of that happened, and there was a time when I needed to stop drinking. I needed some assistance from a 12-step recovery group, and so I went to that, and I got into it, and I was so into my recovery, and it was really, I became real passionate about that. And I read every single recovery book possible. I think I owned them all, and I even joked around like I was going to start a 12-step recovery bookstore, and I had just all of this knowledge, and then I read all of the books at the time, and there was nothing else for me to read. And I also felt like I had come to a place of, having Spirit revealed to me, right? And my understanding of it. So, you go all the way to the edge of that knowledge, and then you meet the divine, right? And so then that kicked off that experience of discovering what my higher power was. What was the God of my understanding? And, it's the 11th step, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him. And so I wanted to understand, and I became open to understanding it, and that's what led me to Center for Spiritual Living San Jose. But rewinding a little bit, in my days in recovery, in the rooms of 12-step, I remember being asked to speak, and I would be the guest speaker multiple times, and I would go in to the bathroom before it was my turn to speak, and I would pray. And my prayer would be to the God of my understanding to have me be able to be present enough to speak what needs to be heard in the room at that time. And so it was the beginning of me trusting God, because I wasn't preparing in advance what I was going to say. I had this trust and this faith that I would be able to say whatever was going to be present for me to say for whoever was in the room, right? Like on an intuitive level. And also, my sponsor said, don't prepare. Because then it's like, that's ego and all of this stuff, right? So then I would go in and I would speak, and it was moving, and I felt authentic and brave, and like something actually happened, and people's lives were changed. And I remember thinking, oh, sometimes my story's not as good as that person who was a nurse, and they were stealing drugs out of the hospital, and like, wow, that's a good story. Mine's not that good. My story is like a little ugly, right? My story's not that cool, but I shared it anyway, and so people's lives were changed. And so I share all of that to say that after that, the 11th step, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him. My next door neighbor came and said, hey, we just got back from church, and her friend Ellie and her had gone to this cool center, and it was called the Center for Spiritual Living San Jose. It might have been called San Jose Center for Spiritual Living at the time, or something different. I can't remember. I know it was a little different. But she was saying, yeah, and so I thought, oh, that's interesting. You know, something was nudging me. I was interested in it. And then she said, well, the minister is awesome, you know. We felt like he was talking right to us. And he has the most amazing ties. And he's really hot. And he might be gay, but we don't care. I was like, what are you talking about? Now I was really interested. So Spirit also speaks to us in whatever way that we will hear it, right? And so I went to check it out. And sure enough, I had the same experience. I was like, well, has he been following me around? Do you remember that? Wasn't that your experience too? And Travis? Wow. And so that began something totally different, right? And this was my experience of needing something more. And of course, I felt like my whole body and my life was just turned inside out. And I was like raw and feeling love like I had never felt it before. And maybe you're experiencing that too. Or you've had a little a slight taste of that when you came in here for the first time, and you keep coming back because you want to experience this love and you want to learn more and experience the divine on a greater degree every time, and you are. Passion. So back to passion and purpose, right? Passion. You know, God is so good. As I sit here and look out at you right now, it's like, wow, here we are, swimming together in this ocean of devotion, and what a beautiful day, you know. Out of all of the people in the world, I mean, somebody in here knows how many billions of people are in the world now? 7, 8? 8. Now we're at 8. Okay, 8 billion people. Out of all of those people in the world, Spirit has brought us together on this day. Think about that. There's something happening here. There's something happening here that is powerful. There's something happening here that is beyond our intellect. There's something happening that is causing us to be here and to be in this presence of love. And we get to leave here today and go and share that with others and be that light and be that love for ourselves and for everyone we come in contact with. This is so cool. It's the ripple effect. Wow. So I want to share one last thing, which is this concept of ikigai. Now, ikigai is a Japanese concept that means your reason for being. Now, I love that wording, you know. We think of passion and purpose, but what is your reason for being? What is your reason for being on the planet at this time? Now, for me, I know that part of my reason for being is and has to do with having infectious joy, you know. That is a thing for me. I'm joyful. I'm very joyful and very happy. And people who come into my orbit can't help but leave with a smile because I have this infectious smile and joy, if I do say so myself, right? I'm just saying, you know, that's what they tell me anyway. So there's that, and there's this experience of joy, and also I have this passion for having other people get how awesome they are and get how they are the light of the world, and that the universe is conspiring for your highest and greatest good, and you deserve to be happy and to be that hand that will reach out and pull you out of whatever is bringing you down and pull you out of that so you can experience this life in a way that is yours to experience with love and joy and freedom, prosperity, wholeness, perfection, right? Connection and joy like never before. And so, what is your reason for being? Now, iki in Japanese means life, and gai describes value or worth. Your ikigai is your life purpose or your bliss. Your bliss. It's what brings you joy and inspires you to get out of bed every day. So the westernized version of ikigai says you've found your dream career when your career includes what you love, what you're good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs. But there are these 4 circles, right? So if you have what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for, right in the center is that almond, and they all converge together, and that is said to be your ikigai. And you can discover and uncover what it is for you if you don't know. I have a feeling that you already know what your passion is. And so tuning into that place and tuning into that space of understanding what it is can be attained through sitting in meditation or whatever that spiritual practice is that has you connect to the divine, right? That's how we discover it. And remember, uncover whatever it is. And so, friends, there's a great story about Oprah Winfrey, who actually began playing in front of an audience of farm animals as a 2-year-old. So she learned to read early on and wrote a letter to her teacher stating that she should skip kindergarten and go right into first grade. And her request was actually honored. So she really recognized her potential early on. And that is so awesome, but it's not just child prodigies that come here to create. It is every person that is in touch with an inner joy or excitement that propels us throughout our day. So get in touch with that. What is it, Small children are great demonstrators of joy and passion. Have you noticed? Small children are not self-conscious or worried about what others think of their actions. That can be problematic at times, right? But they live with this innate spontaneity and freedom that flows through most of their activities. Wearing a tutu with a superhero cape or colorful rain boots and a straw hat, that would not be unusual for a child who would then dance off into their make-believe world. What? Early passions and purposes were sometimes suppressed by being told to be practical, but we're being called to do something different this week. We're being called to get into that state of our childlike wonder. We're being called to play, recognize, play, When was the last time that you flew a kite? Or when was the last time that you actually colored in a coloring book? Oh, that's for kids. Oh my goodness. When was the last time that you skipped, right? Wow. Or just did something, talked in gibberish. When was the last time you did that? Pig Latin, right? There you go. So wrapping it up, my friends, discovering your passion is just a few mindless moments away. Letting yourself daydream is really a tool that was dismissed and discouraged in childhood, right? Not here, though. I see you looking out there and checking it out and letting your mind just flow as you get this and receive this love on an unconscious level. But as we let go of self-conscious thoughts, we can reclaim our inner passion and begin the momentum of expanding even more into our purpose. Because every day we're becoming more of who we came here to be, which is really us letting go of who we're not, right? Sometimes we put on these false clothes of who we thought we were, and then we realize, oh, we're not that. So we're constantly letting go of what we aren't so that we can be more of who we came here to be. So what is it that you are being guided to act upon? What is calling to you? Remember this week. What is calling to you? Take a new path to work or to wherever you're headed, or walk a new route. If you're always taking that same route, take a different route. And think back to when you were a kid. What did you love to do? Did you love to dance but were worried about what others thought? And let yourself do it. Now, the specific calls to action, she's dancing back there, are to start or continue your meditation practice each day. And add to that meditation practice, remembering times when you were most happy as a child. And visualize a few activities that bring you joy when you think of doing them. Walk or skip barefoot on grass at least once a week. Find a coloring book for children or adults and color inside the lines and outside the lines, just for fun, just to be rebellious. Dance in the privacy of your own home to your favorite tunes that then you could take that outside, she's dancing in the back, or join a dance group and dance through the streets. Okay, that might be over the top, but Fly a kite, color in a coloring book, lay down outside. When was the last time you laid outside and looked at the clouds and watched the clouds pass by and imagined, oh, there's a heart, or there's a ship, or there's it's an arrow. Wow. Get in touch with that space within you. When you leave here today, I want to see you skipping out to your cars. If you can't skip, maybe take giant steps or something fun, right? And see yourself mentally skipping. But friends, this week, set your inner child free. Set that inner child free. Have fun and connect with that joy. Now, there are 3 questions that you can ask yourself this week and journal about, and those are, number 1, what brought you joy as a child? Number 2, what brings you joy now? And number 3, how will you incorporate more of what brings you joy into your life? And I'm going to invite Travis to come up as we prepare for the closing prayer. And as he makes his way up here, did he skip? Good job, honey. We're going to do the religious science shuffles, what I call it, which is to, shake your arms out, maybe scratch your nose, do whatever you need to do to get comfortable in your chair so that you can actually let go of your body. And join me in turning your attention inward and returning to that beautiful, expansive space within. This is that space where we know and remember with every fiber of our being that spirit is all that there is. And we can't wrap our minds around it, but we're not supposed to wrap our minds around it. Because spirit is more than that. It's something that is so mighty and so magnificent. And as we get present to this presence within us, we begin to merge with it. And it is in that merging that we realize that something wonderful is happening here and now. And that wonderful thing that's happening is spirit expressing itself as me and as my life, and each one of us here. Spirit has birthed itself into existence as each one of us to experience itself in a particular way through us. There is a divine purpose and a divine calling and a passion, many passions within each of us. And Spirit wants to play. Spirit wants us to experience this. It wants to experience this through us. And so who are we to say no? Who am I to say I can't, or I'm busy, or I have other things to do when Spirit wants to express itself in a particular way? I say yes. I am available to all the good that Spirit wants to express through me and as me, and I know that this is true for each one of us. And I'm so grateful that we are in touch with our passion, and that as we go forward into our week this week, we are skipping around and smiling, and there's a sense of joy that we have not known for a long time. But that joy has been set free. It's like a bird in a cage, and suddenly the cage door was open and the bird is out and free and liberated, and that's what's happening right now. This joy that is within us is liberated. And we get to be that joy in all that we think and all that we say and all that we do, and people are transformed by that joy within us. All because we got in touch with our passion, what we love, what brings us joy. sometimes we forget how powerful we are and how by us being this love and by us being this joy and this presence of good gives others permission to do the same. We forget that. And so right now we're remembering it. And we are allowing that to take us forward. And it is so good, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the transformation that has occurred today in this room. And I'm so grateful for the ripple effect that this has out in the world, because we take this consciousness and multiply it, and it multiplies abundantly. Everything in our lives are affected by this good, and it is great. Wow. Wow. I'm grateful for this joy. I'm grateful for the passion and purpose that we remembered here today. God is so good, and I give thanks and know that this prayer is complete as I let it go and allow it to be. And so it is. Ashe. Amen. All right. Thank you. Thanks, honey.